Here's the quote from your speaker's bureau. He was a digital pioneer long before the term social networking became fashionable.
Mm-hmm.
The technology was coming out. We had answering machines. There were telephones.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible technology.
Mm-hmm.
Every inch of the world had wires and people could talk on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Then voicemail was coming in.
Yeah.
You recognize that as potential way to communicate and connect people on a broad scale.
Yep.
And then fast forward to you went all the way through that to the internet,
Mm-hmm.
to the internet
Mm-hmm.
age where people were clicking and listening and connecting with people. A digital visionary? Like, did you see all that happening when you guys started out? Oh, let's do this.
Yeah, and that's much better to say we were pioneers, because as I look back on it, it was really my two partners that had the vision of using the phones to connect. And I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. I'm not really a visionary or an original ideas guy. I think upon reflection, what I am good at is seeing an idea that I think could work and be expanded. And the guys used to laugh whenever I got close to that room. So what are you doing here? Right? Because they knew I didn't really know how it worked, but I knew what it could do.
Yeah.
That was my strength.
And one of the things that came out of listening to some of your content online was, what did you guys solve?
So voice for us, I'm a voice guy. Like, I've always loved radio and audio. And, the great thing about telepersonals at the time, and I think one of our slogans was get to know someone from the inside out.
Right.
Because you could spend as much time as you wanted talking or sending messages back and forth before you have that distortion now of, well, I'm not interested in this person, or that doesn't look like my physical type.
Mm-hmm.
It allowed you to get to know somebody without getting biased like that. And, flash forward to today, some people will lament the times we find ourselves in because it seems so disposable.
Yeah.
When Tinder came along and you swipe right, it's no, yes, well, he or she is hot. But what does that really tell you, about the person that you're trying to get to know? So, I don't want to say it was a better time. It's not what it's about. Like, evolution happens, but we were connecting people using voice, right? And telling stories and sending messages back and forth. And what do you think of this? And it's like, you're sort of going with the brain and cerebral and, so yeah.
And the heart.
Voice and the heart. Well, that's exactly heart and soul, right? Rather than just what you look like. So that was the pioneer system. That was really arguably the first social network in the world, I would suggest.
Right. I love that.
Sending messages back and forth over a phone line. Hey, who else is quote unquote online right now? Send them a message. Hope you get a response. Like when you think about
a voicemail
send them a voicemail message.
Isn't that amazing?
So for the very first time, we were able to measure digitally what people's behavior were, quote unquote, online.
Yeah.
So we'd come in on a Monday, hit a print button, and say, okay, 80% of people hung out in this area of our site for this amount of time. And this is what the activity they were doing. So that was really the first digital footprint.
You had metrics in the day when they were
tough to come by.
Yeah.
That's the very first time. We take that for granted now, right? But so what's that, like 40 years?
One of the other things that popped out for me was, what were you solving? Yeah, connections, whatever. But one of the key things that I think you said was, we created a place where women felt safe.
Yeah, that was our strategy.
And the men will follow.
Exactly. Seems like brilliant in hindsight, right?
That safety piece. Are they still solving that piece, which is women feel safe, men will follow?
But just by the virtue of you being online, you do leave a digital footprint. So from that aspect, I think it was by its nature safe. This was new to the population as well. So people weren't really tuned into, hey, you know what, if I'm being a dick online, it's probably going to there'll be evidence of it.
So the human voice on a voicemail system becomes a messaging system on your phone, which becomes what?
Becomes swipe right. That's very interesting to me, that whole line of conversation. And particularly for me around young people, because this companionship, using technology as a companion. But what I've seen with kids, is I don't think we're on the right side of kids' mental health with all these advancements. One of the things that we've done recently is I've opened up a boxing gym for kids, right? To really, use the sport of boxing to get kids off of the phone and out of their basement and into a gym environment where there's a community and we've put 650 kids through our gym since mid 2022 when we launched, right? So this is like a Band-Aid for me on what I see as a bigger issue that I feel like I've had a hand in helping to create a problem, with the social, not that it wouldn't have happened without us, but we were the first social network and we were very technology based and had all kinds of, tactics and strategies to keep people online longer, because the longer they stayed online, the more money we made. And, and I think overall it's led to a place, particularly, as I say, with young people, although I'm sure there's pockets of examples in every demographic where it's not particularly healthy, right? And I'm very fascinated. You've introduced AI into the conversation. Like, how far is this going to go, right? We're just gonna stay in our cubicles and get everything we need from a very human-like facsimile, I hope not.
The interface.
Or will there be a backlash? What's the next 10 going to look like? Are we going to have a backlash on back to real community and, back to kids, being off their phone?
The hope piece around young people connected to the internet and now to chatbots and artificial intelligence, is it going to elevate their experience in education, in socializing, or is it going to, your suggestion, we recede into our little bubbles and we're just here? Or is it like, okay, I have all this new vision and all this new opportunity? And that's where I am in regards to the intelligence and the artificial intelligence.
So you're an optimist, are you?
Well, here's the thing. I'm a apocalyptimist. So one of the first interviews I had on my podcast was with a gentleman. He said, yes, there's AI, there's voice synthesis coming, and then there's us. We don't position against them. We are expert voice people who deliver what we deliver. If you need that, hire me. If you need an AI voice, text to speech, hire them.
And another example would be, I'm surrounded by photographers. My ex-wife's a photographer, my best tennis buddy's a photographer, world class, and I've always said you can't teach an eye, right? So no matter how good the tech gets, I can always tell when I see a Chris Wall photograph, because he's got a way of positioning the subject and capturing the moment that can't be done with tech, but on the other side, and it's why I asked the difference between you as a professional and me as a voice consumer, on the other side of it, do people care enough, right, to pay or to linger on a photograph and appreciate the difference between how far the iPhone has come, on a shot that my daughter could have taken. And, as attention spans have gotten narrower, my fear is that we've lost the appreciation of the increasingly subtle but meaningful difference, right, in quality of like a practitioner like yourself whose life has been voice, my buddy Chris Wall, whose life has been capturing moments. Initially analog, now digital, but there's still, you can tell, because you can't teach an eye. But do people care enough, right?
I love that.
Like that's the issue of our time,
And being that we're in a transactional society where dollar values are put on every single transaction, is it cheaper? I mean, are people going to care enough when, let's just rewind to Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
We've got a house over our head. We have enough to eat. that's the whole point of his hierarchy of needs, because then we have to get to meaning in our life. Meaning becomes more important. We have stability, we have economic, predictability, we have children. Oh, there must be meaning. There must be legacy. There must be something, and it's not going to be pressing a button and your life popping out on a Polaroid or something. It has to have depth to it. And is it going to be too late when we figure that out? For the young people who've grown up with these things in their hands, they don't know what a beautiful photo book looks like. They don't know what going through an art gallery is and seeing, the group of sevens brushstrokes on a canvas.
Yeah,
like
it's
that,
a different world.
that. They've lost that.
A different world.
But what are they going to find? Let's go to legacy for you. What if you were standing with God in heaven and he would say one thing to you, what would he say to you at this stage of your life or at the end of your life? What is it you would imagine he would say?
Tell me again why I'm letting you in here. Convince me again why I'm letting you in.
Good.
Say, well, let me tell you, listen, I've had my faults. But at the end of the day, I've tried to be an authentic human being. I've tried to do right by others. I've made mistakes. I've tried to own up to my mistakes. I think I deserve a shot, to hang out with you good people up here.
Nice.
How he's going to respond to that pitch, I don't know. But I can imagine myself presenting it something like that.
Yeah, this conversation could go anywhere, and I think it did. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, no worries, man. Good to see you.